Hey everyone, so this week I'm going to be going over guitar with you all. First, I want to start out with the three main types of guitars that are out there. First, we have a classical guitar. Now, a classical guitar is going to look a lot like the one that I've got here, with some key differences. And we'll put up an image right there. So if you notice, my guitar has this little cutout right here. Classical guitars do not have that. The other difference is this headstock up here. Mine, if you see sticking out on top, it has these little silver tuning pegs. Classical guitar, instead of sticking out this way, it scoots in the back. You'll also see these little slits in the headstock that run this way. Now, the primary difference is going to be the strings. So my guitar, and we'll get to that, this one has metal strings. A classical guitar has nylon strings. They're kind of like plastic strings. The second type of guitar is an acoustic guitar, and that's what this is. So acoustic guitars, they come in different shapes, sizes, even colors, styles. There's lots of different things that change, but the primary thing is that they're all going to have this little sound hole right here, just like a classical guitar. These are going to have metal strings, and that's pretty much the only distinction, is that these have metal strings. Now, an electric guitar, and that's what you think when you think rock and roll. So an electric guitar, it does not make really much sound. So if I were to play this, you can hear it. If I played it on electric, you would be able to hear it, but it wouldn't be very loud, because an electric guitar, you have to actually plug it in. You have to plug in a cable to the electric guitar and plug that into an amp. And those are the really key differences. So an electric guitar also has metal strings, just like the acoustic. So today, I'm going to be demonstrating on an acoustic guitar. And this is actually an acoustic electric guitar. So it's an acoustic guitar, but on the back, right here, there's a little hole where I can stick a cable into this guitar, plug it into an amp, and it actually will play through that amp. So it's called an acoustic electric because it's primarily an acoustic, but it has that electric option. So it's an acoustic electric. Today I'm going to be going over a few things. The first thing I'm going to be going over is how to tune the guitar, because that's very important. We want to know how to tune it. If we don't know how to tune it, it's not going to sound good. Mine is in tune. Sounds pretty good. These little silver things right here, if you twist them, they tighten or loosen these strings, and that makes it lower or higher. Hear that? Boo! So it went lower. I loosen the string. I tighten it back up. Over time, the strings will get what's called out of tune. That just means that they're not exactly where we want them to be. So mine was in tune. Let me just turn a few of these knobs just a little bit. Just kind of randomly. I'll pick 3 of them. There we go. Did it randomly. Now I'm going to play something. Ooh, that sounds terrible. So, in order to get the guitar in tune, we first have to know what the names of the strings are. And I was getting a tuning app out on my phone that I will go ahead and show you. And we'll pull it up. There we go. So this is one type of tuner. There are lots of different types of tuners. This is one that I use. It can look a little confusing at first, but the moment I stop talking and I play a string, you see it centers kind of on a note. And there we saw an E, there's an F, there's a D, and there's this E with looks like a lowercase b. So we use letters from the alphabet. We only use 7. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And each of these strings are going to be one of those. Now we actually do have a repeat in here. It's E down here, that's what it should be. A, D, G, B, and then E again. Now that's what each of those should be. It's really out of tune. How do you remember that? Because there's 6 of them. How do you remember that is starting from this really thick string. That's actually string 6. So we're going to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So starting with string 6, you can say Eddie, 8, dynamite, good, bye, Eddie. Don't eat dynamite, kids. So that's what we say. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. E, A, D, G, B, E. There you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck one of these strings, and I have what's called a pick in my hand. Let me turn on this side so you can see a little bit better. A pick in my hand, and I hold this and I just use this to pluck the strings. And so I'm going to hit just this low E string, and that's it. That's the Eddie string, first Eddie string. And let's see what pops up on the tuner. So we see an E there, but we need to get the string to where it's centered in that E. So I'm going to turn this peg, because if you follow this string all the way here, it goes to this tuning peg. So I'm going to turn it until it gets closer and then centered on there. Let's watch. And there we go. So it's pretty close to settling in the center of that little green zone. That's what we want. This next one, Eddie 8, so we'll go with A, and I'm going to go one more tuning peg over. Let me pluck the A string. There we go. That one was basically in tune. I just turned it very, very little. We need small movements. Let's check this next one, Eddie 8 Dynamite, so it should be a D. Close. There we go. Next we're going to Eddie 8 Dynamite, so what do we say? We say Goodbye Eddie. So G is this next one, and it's down here all the way on the end. If you never know, you can just follow the string, find out where it goes, and see that it goes to this one. So this should be a G. Close. Goodbye Eddie. There we go. So hopefully it sounds good again. Awesome. There we go. So that's the first step. So if your strings aren't in tune, your guitar's not going to sound good no matter how good you are. So we want to make sure that it's in tune first, because then we can sound good. So the next thing I'm going to do is teach you a chord, because guitar is unique. It can play more than one note at the same time. And we call those chords. So I'm going to teach you an E minor chord. It's a very easy chord. All we're going to do is we're going to take these two fingers. I call it the rock and roll chord because we kind of do this with our hands. And each of these strings are numbered. This thinnest one down here is actually 1. So we start at the bottom with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we also have these little silver metal bars going across the neck of the instrument. It might be kind of hard to see on the video, but there's these little bars. If you look at a guitar, you'll see these little metal bars. Those are called frets. So here is fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5. So we're just going to be looking at fret 2, which means here's 1, here's 2. It's in that second little box. So we're going to take our middle finger, put it on the 5th string, fret 2. It should sound like this. And this is the A string, the 8 string, Eddie 8. So it's the 5th string, and that second fret. Then we're going to take our ring finger, the one next to your pinky, and we're going to put it on the string directly below it, on the 4th string. The D string, that's the dynamite string. That's also on the 2nd fret. Should sound like that now. So we're going to make sure that we play with the tips of our fingers. We're going to curl our fingers at every little joint, so we don't want any joint to be bent backwards. We want it to be curled the entire time. We're going to play with the tips of our fingers. Once you get that, you want to make sure that you're pressing nice and firm with those 2 fingers. And you also want to make sure that these fingers and no other fingers are touching any parts of the string, because if you do, then it might sound like that. We want to make sure that nothing else is touching any of those strings, only the strings that our fingers are on. And if we do that, and if you take a pick and you start from string 1 and strum up to string 6 slowly, aha! It sounds really cool. So if you have a guitar, try that out. Tune it. Be very careful when you tune it. When you first tune it, it's kind of a guess and check of which way you turn the pegs. So get the tuner. You're going to play the string. You're going to find out where the string is at. You're going to look on the tuner to find where it should be. And then you're going to slowly turn it in one direction. Now, if it goes farther away from what you're looking for, then start turning it in the other direction. It should be getting closer. If it's getting closer when you first turn it, just keep on going until you get center. If you go too far, turn it the other direction and you'll end up in center. So do that for all those strings, just like how we showed you. And then try out that E minor chord, the rock and roll chord. Again, so it's middle finger, the A string, 8 string, Eddie 8 on that 2nd fret. And then we've got our ring finger, the one next to your pinky. That one is going to go on the D string, the dynamite string, also the 2nd fret. And the frets are those little boxes that are made with those metal bars. And so we put those two right there. We take our pick. You can even take your finger. Here, I'll use my finger so you can see. And you can just hook it very loosely across the strings, going from this one string all the way to string number 6. Boom. So there you go. There's a little bit about guitar.